Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with another discussion video. So, I hope those of you who decided to buy Seasons are really enjoying it, but something interesting came up recently regarding the future of The Sims 4. Variety did an interview with SimGuru Grant. I will leave a link to it in the video description below. But what's most interesting about it is the end, because it says here, though EA hasn't announced any further expansion for the 4-year-old game, it appears as if The Sims 4 will continue to have a long tail. Though he wouldn't go into specifics, Rodiak said he was already in meetings discussing the next 3 years of content for the current title. Seasons is just the tip of the iceberg, he said. So that's pretty great. Iceberg, Arctic world confirmed. No, seriously though. I wanted to make a video about this because I wanted to ask you all what you want to see from the remaining years of The Sims 4. So we have at least 3 years left, so that's pretty cool in my opinion because we only just got Seasons now. I think Seasons really will extend the life of The Sims 4, and I wasn't too happy that The Sims 4 was announced fairly soon after Seasons released for The Sims 3, so I'm glad that The Sims 4 will have a longer lifespan. As for what I'd like to see in The Sims 4, I do want to bring up that farming poll again that SimGuru Grant did, because I have been very vocal about wanting a farming pack, and these are the final results. So, raising farm animals won by a landslide of 51%, and I'm really glad since that's what I wanted. And I'm really shocked to see horses and living off the grid placed so close together, just 1% difference. Because, well, whenever I bring up horses, just like with cars, there's always lots of people who say, oh, horses are pointless to bring back because no open world. So it's quite interesting to see that horses even got that many votes. And, well, yeah, I've been pretty vocal about wanting off the grid as well, but I don't think that makes sense for a farming pack. I'd rather see that be its own game pack or stuff pack. It could be a nice way to complement raising livestock, but a whole expansion just for living off the grid sounds like a huge stretch to me. I'm not surprised that growing crops lost by a big margin though, because, well, we pretty much have that already. I mean, it would be nice to have corn stalks and some farming equipment like tractors, but yeah, I feel like that's a lesser of a priority on its own compared to the other options. Other than that, well, there's still plenty of things that I want to see in The Sims 4. I mean, that's why I have my Sims 4 wishlist as a thing on my channel, but just to go over some of the main things, I definitely want University at some point. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of University, it still adds a lot more realism to the education system. Maybe it could be like a whole education pack instead of just it being about university. Like, you could have community colleges and preschools and being able to actually have the option to go to the elementary and high schools if you want and have it work like an active career and also be able to play as the professor. And of course, I do want cars. It almost goes without saying at this point because, yep, I've been very vocal about wanting cars as well. That's like my most wanted feature now, especially if we're talking about like free updates, because that's what I'm hoping, that cars will be a free update. Though I wouldn't be surprised if they did do an on-the-road sort of game pack where they added cars that way and be able to have like a car mechanic active career or something like that to go along with it. But yeah, cars. And I do want to see more occults as well, including fairies, witches, superheroes, some kind of robot. I'm not sure which one, like servos, plumbots, simbots, or an entirely new kind of robot. I don't know, but robots for sure. They should be in the game at some point. I'd also like to see plant sims be updated because right now they're pretty lacking, in my opinion, in comparison to what they were in The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. And since plant sims were reintroduced through a free update instead of a paid expansion, then there's hopefully more opportunities to be able to do that. One other thing I really want, especially now that we have Seasons, is a tropical island pack. I have talked about in the past how I wouldn't mind seeing it as a game pack. It could probably work, just like it has with other vacation destinations, But what if they actually made it an expansion pack instead? Because it could be interesting to see what the expansion pack could do with the whole vacation destination. It could be maybe even deeper than what they've done with Granite Falls and Selva Dorada, especially since you could have Sims swimming in the ocean, reintroduce boats, and maybe have like a whole ocean that you can explore through scuba diving that could work in a similar way to the jungle in Selva Dorada, where you just have like this open jungle and it has like certain parts of it closed off so that you can still have it be like an almost entirely open world, but not quite. And if they manage to pull that off, I think that could actually be a little bit more interesting than what they pulled off with scuba diving in Island Paradise, because even though it's not like bad by any means, it does feel a bit limiting at times, because it's like, oh, you can only scuba dive in this spot and this spot and that one, and it's just like at most 64 by 64 lots. So yeah, it feels a little bit restrictive at times. But if they did manage to make a big wide open ocean that makes use of the public space, then it could be really good. And if you add hotels that you could even run on top of all of those things that I mentioned, then you easily have a pack that is too much to cram into a game pack. So yeah, that's why I think a tropical island could be an expansion pack in comparison to the other vacation destinations we have right now. Also, this would be a great second chance to reintroduce sunburns, because yeah, it was a little bit of a missed opportunity to not include it in seasons. On a related note, I'd love to see more stuff added for pools in The Sims 4. I think they've done some pretty interesting things with them this time around, especially how pools are a bit more interactive while Sims are swimming in them, but I mean, we're still missing pool slides, pool bars, maybe like swimming floaties, have toddlers be able to learn swimming like through swimming lessons, and the pool loungers that you can like have sit out in the water, like they're also called pool rafts. Maybe they could even bring back volleyball, but have it take place in the pool. I'd still love to see land volleyball return as well, but it could be an interesting way of bringing back that sport. And maybe they could even do things that they haven't done before, like synchronized swimming and full-on water parks. A swimming skill could be amazing as well, especially if they did manage to pull off ocean swimming in at least one world. I'd also like to see more small pets, though not necessarily right now because of the controversial My First Pet stuff. But the thing is, I feel like it'd just be strange to end The Sims 4 and have just hamsters, rats, and hedgehogs and the bubaloos to be the only small pets in the game. Like, what about the birds and the reptiles and bunnies? I think they should all be put into the game at some point. Just execute them better than what's been done with My First Pet stuff, please. Like, don't make one individual stuff pack for each of those small pets that I mentioned. I would suggest the Pet Shop game pack idea that I've mentioned in the past, but we can't sell the small pets that we have in the game right now through Get to Work's retail system, so I don't know if they'd even be able to fix that, because they would need to for birds and other small pets if they were able to actually like, do a game pack around this theme. One last thing that I'll mention is the idea of a hobby system, much like The Sims 2 Free Time, because I think the game could still use just more activities, and what better way to do that than to reintroduce the hobby system with it. And it would really help push ourselves to make our Sims pursue hobbies and maybe get certain benefits from doing them and stuff like that. So yeah, so it just adds a bit more dimension to our Sims lives instead of it just being defined by work and doing the 9 to 5 every day. And that's pretty much it for the major things that I want to see in The Sims 4's lifespan. There's plenty of other things, of course, but those are the things where I'm like, okay, Sims 4 needs to have those things. And 3 years, I think, is pretty good. I think more than that might be a little much, because eventually we'll reach the ceiling where it's like, okay, they should make a Sims game where we have an open neighborhood, because The Sims 4 still has its limitations. Eventually they're gonna need to start with a new base game and then expand on it again, even though It won't be fun having to wait years for things like pets and seasons over again, but that's just the reality of the Sims cycle at this point. But with that said, be sure to leave a like or comment or even subscribe, because it lets me know that you like my channel, my videos, and it helps you keep up to date more easily with the latest content from me. I do videos on The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more, so I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!